A pretty boring week ahead of us. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions, and that is definitely not the case. So if you guys jump into my screen very quickly, one thing that I want to show you is that this week, the most valuable company that is publicly traded will be reporting earnings from every article I've read. Now, first off, let's give credit where it's due. Nvidia, I like to call it, or I refer to it as the juggernaut. It's pretty much carrying the market on its back. The very unfortunate part right now, from what I've been reading, is that a lot of these companies are reporting better than expected earnings. Yet, even when they do report that, they still have been selling off. It almost seems like recently, and feel free to share your thoughts, as again, this is just my opinion, the past 2 to 3 weeks, markets are still incredibly bullish, but they've been more willing to sell off. There's been more signs of uncertainty, more willing to retrace, which is quite unique because that has not been the story for most of 2025. It's been incredibly bullish and, in my opinion, incredibly irrational. So the big focus that I have this week with my LPP team is preparing for how the market reacts to Nvidia reporting earnings, but also prior, like what I've seen before when Nvidia, because it has such a large influence to both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, markets almost are in a standstill leading up to its earnings the week of. So for those that do not know, Nvidia is set to report earnings on Wednesday after the market closes. I would love to live stream it for you guys. If you guys want me to go live, all I literally ask you to do is to drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'd be more than happy to go live and kind of just watch the market react and to see if there's any trade opportunity that ends up presenting itself. I do believe in Nvidia. I think Nvidia is a company that long-term does have obviously potential. There's no reason there's a reason that it's at a $5 trillion market cap, or at least it was. Let me pull it up for you very quickly. So when we have Nvidia is trading at 190. It's up about 1% during the overnight hours, which really doesn't mean much. Previous all-time highs is 212. As of right now, its market cap is 4.62 trillion. I am invested in Nvidia. I like being straight up with you guys. I'm invested in Nvidia below $100 per share. Would I buy Nvidia at these price levels? No. I like to be straight up with you guys, right? It's kind of like what crypto bros do to a lot of beginners. I like to do the opposite. People think that because I'm invested in something, I have to hype it up, I have to promote it. But no, I invested in something early. I believe markets are now overbought. So if there's any signs of uncertainty, if we do enter a recession, as all the red flags are there, if we do enter a slowdown for this potential AI bubble, which again, the signs are there, it doesn't have to correct, but I think that it's risk to reward ratio wise, I think it's not going to be very calculated of me to buy Nvidia at $190 per share. It's not a cheap price to pay. Just like, again, we've said it many times, people like to hype up the stocks that they're invested in. Why? Because they need to convince you that you need to buy the same stock or crypto that they're in, so you pump up the price. And I always like to do the opposite of that. I like to talk about risk. I like to make beginners aware of the downside risk, especially during a very uncertain time. So I hope that you know that although I am going to be talking about Nvidia in this video because we kind of have to, right? As it's set to report earnings, I want you to know, yes, I am invested. No, I have no intention of selling my long-term investment because that's my intention. It's kind of like if someone bought Bitcoin at like $5,000 per coin. Yeah, it wouldn't be very smart of them probably to buy at 127,000, right? But it also doesn't mean that they have to sell. They can tolerate and stomach the pullbacks. That is the important part about being invested and also being well positioned, not over leveraged at overbought levels. You hear it all the time, especially right now. The whole crypto market is getting liquidated right now with all the shit coins and altcoins. I'm sorry, whatever it is that you call them. What often happens? The cryptos pump, they buy and leverage themselves at all-time highs, and then they dump, and then now they get margin called or they get liquidated. That is one of the reasons I don't mess with crypto. I don't care to. That's just my opinion. If you want to, explore that market, I wish you nothing but the best, right? There's a lot of different ways on how to make money in this world. If that's the avenue that you want to explore, all power to you. I just think that because those markets are so unregulated and so filled, it's like a cesspool of just a bunch of idiots and pumpers and people just selling you the dream of, oh, this coin that they just made up is going to rocket 1,000%. And sometimes they do, right? But they're short-lived. They're pump and dumps. That would never work in the public stock market that we partake in, right? It's heavily regulated, and you would go to jail when it comes down to that. So that's one of the main reasons that I like investing in the stock market. It is more heavily regulated. Yes, you don't tend to experience those kinds of exponential returns, but at least for me, it's more consistent, and in my opinion, it's safer. I do not trust crypto in any way. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. It's not fear mongering when all you're doing is talking about risk. Like I said, if you believe in Bitcoin, or you believe that, what's that coin called? Dogecoin is the future, you're an adult. I don't care what you do with your money, right? And if it pays off for you, great. But let's be realistic, right? There's a reason that crypto crashes 70% every single bear market. There's a reason. And it's because it's over leveraged, it's over hyped up. And during those downturns, it crashes and a bunch of people lose money. They get liquidated. It's the same thing over and over again, right? It always happens. It probably always will. And it's one of the main reasons I don't trust the space. But that's my journey, my story, and my experience. It doesn't have to be yours. So if you want to pursue it, I wish you nothing but the best, right? I love to talk about risk to reward. And to me, it doesn't align with my criteria. And that's fine, right? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Nvidia. Nvidia is going to be the number one stock, right? If you're part of my LPP team, I just want to be straight up with you guys. Every single day, I'm going to be watching Nvidia and how it's moving. I think Nvidia will be one of the big reasons that, depending if it's selling off or rising prior to it reporting earnings, will be one of the main reasons that markets begin to uptick or begin to downturn, because of its influence to both NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So I am going to be making a full video on Wednesday before it reports earnings on everything that you need to know before it actually reports. I just wanted you to know that I'm going to be watching Nvidia more than any other stock. It doesn't mean that I need to be trading Nvidia. I just want to be aware of the way that it's moving so I can get a better understanding of how the NASDAQ market is set to move as well. So that's the number one stock I'm paying attention to this week, not the number one stock I'm choosing to trade this week. Very different, right? What stock would you guys like me to break down for you? So if you guys want me to break down your top stock, all I literally ask you to do is drop a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can partake in that live chat. I'm pretty new here. Does he ever go over futures? I do not trade futures. I do not cover futures. So no, I'm not going to be your person when it comes down to that. But I appreciate you asking. And if there's an individual stock that you see value in and you want to share with me why, I'd love to break it down live. All right. It would be cool if whatever stock you guys are asking me kind of reports earnings this week. All right, well, I'm not going to double check. Okay. SoFi. So this one got brought up last week, right? SoFi is an incredibly bullish stock lately with consistent higher highs and higher lows. One of our members wanted to short. It might have actually played out well in his favor. The reason I didn't like the idea of shorting this is because how incredibly bullish it's been. And not just a little bullish. I mean, it's been aggressively forming higher highs and higher lows. There has been retracements to the moving average, but do you kind of see how there's a pattern here, right? It retraces to the moving average and it recovers. It traces to the moving average and it recovers. It pulls back and then it recovers. Pulls back and then it recovers. So now it's recently pulled on back. Trust me, I would love to see a break of pattern. I would love to see a break of support, continuous descending pattern. If we see that, I think that could justify a potential short. But as of right now, I don't know if your intentions are to go long or to go short. But right now, I would be more cautious, especially with how the markets are trading right now. If they hold like this until market open, right? Markets are up about 0.49%, about 0.5%. So if they continue to move up, which is a possibility, right? Let's say that Nvidia exceeds earnings expectation. It shares something that was not factored in, and it's a bull case, right? Markets can push up and recover, and that would be great for all of big tech, because remember, when Nvidia moves up, because of its influence, it can help the rest of the NASDAQ market move up and therefore help support all tech move up. So I do believe that, again, if Nvidia is bullish after reporting earnings, you could have a bull case. If it reports earnings and it comes in worse than what is expected, again, I would be careful, watch for a break of support. But again, we don't encourage shorting for beginners. So I don't know what your experience level is. If you have any experience with that, definitely with something this bullish, I don't think it would be a fun thing to mess around with when direction is against you. So I'm really glad that you pointed this stock out. Again, I don't know what your intentions are to go long or to go short, but I see this as an oversold reversal simply based off of previous patterns. But again, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. So I can set my alert there for the break above, but I'll also set my alert down here for the break below. And then all we have to do is wait for confirmation, right? We did an amazing job on Friday with our LPP team, waiting for confirmation on an overbought reversal during one of our live trading sessions, and our group absolutely loved it. So again, if you ever want to watch me trade live, it's the second link in the description down below. We have a little discount link in there for you. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So, all right, CMG. All right, I don't think I understand why you're asking me this. It's in the early stages of a reversal. So, I made a video about CMG after it reported earnings and it saw a big downtick. If we look at this on the day chart, this is just my opinion. I decided to invest into CMG after it sold off. But looking at its just history based off of recent timeframes, and again, I'm telling you this as I decided to buy it. I have no intention of making any money anytime soon on CMG. Let me explain. Its overall direction has been bearish. I cannot assume that just because I decided to buy that it has to go in my favor. I feel like that's a big misconception or hope we often give ourselves as traders. But my intention is to invest, right? I decided to buy into CMG. I saw it to be as a fair deal. I did it with a smaller dollar amount. So just in case it does begin to recover, then I can begin to actually add more once direction becomes favorable. So I think that because it sold off so much, I think that there's possibilities for it to have, signs of a recovery. But overall, if your intention is to make money right now, I don't think that its true direction would truly be in your favor. And because of that, I would be very cautious and very careful if your intention was to buy to actually be able to sell for a profit. Just my 2 cents. What's going on, sweetie? I will, but I'm live right now. Okay, so I just have three more that I'm going to break down, and I'll be with you in about like 10, 15 minutes, okay? All right. So I appreciate you asking me about CMG. I do agree with you based off of what I saw fundamentally. I like the business, and I think that it's trading below fair value. But again, my intentions are not yours. I see it to be a decent deal where I can buy now, add more later, and it has a lot of upside for potential recovery. I like the risk to reward, but my risk is not your risk. So just because I decided to buy it doesn't make sense to encourage anyone else to buy it. If anything, right, if it does rip up a little bit, it almost makes sense more to short it because of how incredibly bearish it's recently been. And again, I don't mind saying that even though I am slightly invested in it. Okay. LLY. Okay. Please do not spam the chat. Please don't spam. All right. Damn. So right off the bat, do I think that this is a good deal? No. So I don't know what your intentions are. I don't know how to pronounce your name. What's your intention with LLY? To buy as an investment, to take as a trade, to short? What's your intention? I'm going to pull it up here real quick. Yeah, Lily trades at a 49.9x multiple for its P ratio. Wow, that actually does pretty good. Let's look at the pro research real quick. Revenue has been increasing. I mean, it's still trading at a nice premium, but I can see why. When you look at its growth and how much money this company actually makes, it does make $18.4 billion in net income a year. That's actually quite impressive. Okay, so now you're saying short, Lily. Do I see it to be a good deal? No. For all my people that are part of LPP, you know exactly what I'm going to say, right? Just like when something is oversold and you shorted it and you're done shorting it, it doesn't mean that you should buy it, right? Because it doesn't mean that it has to recover. Just like this. Like I don't think it would make sense to just blindly start to short something when all it's shown is that it's incredibly bullish. We give an analogy often, and it's like, do you want to swim with the current or against it? Like if you're a mile away from shore, imagine swimming with the current or against it. Yeah, it's possible for you to make money shorting this, but you're just going to make it much more challenging for yourself when direction is against you. So a very simple step that I would take is, it looks like it does pull back and form reversals from time to time. I would truly wait for indication of a reversal. Those are the steps that I would choose to take. So what exactly would that look like? So again, a quick little tool that I can use here is set up my plan of where I would need to, what I see possible. Okay, I'm going to wait for the break below EMA or whatever your criteria is, if it's a specific number, if it's a specific break of structure. And then after that, I'm going to enter with the light position. If it becomes more favorable and it begins to make me money, I'll add more to the short. This is where I plan to take profits. This is where I plan to cut losses. It's a 3.25 risk to reward ratio. I can set appropriate alerts and then make sure that, again, I only take trades when my actual criteria is met. Do you get what I mean? So again, all I want to encourage you to do is that if you see value in something or you see an opportunity in something, I'm not here to encourage you or discourage you from doing it. I'm just here to hopefully encourage you to take additional steps, to be aware of the risk, to manage risk, manage position size, but to also make sure that you actually are looking for criteria that is being met, and to remind you that don't just take it because you want to. At least in my experience, that hasn't been a very favorable outcome, right? Don't take the trade just because you want to. Take the trade because your trade criteria is actually being met. So what does that look like? Is that break below EMA? I can set an alert here. If it continues to run up, then let it run up, right? The more that it becomes overbought, the more of an opportunity you might have for potential short, right? Once it actually, Once it actually begins to reverse. Eventually, we know that it will correct itself. It's just, will you be patient enough to wait for that reversal to happen? So set alerts and move on. Okay. What do you think about MSTR? Let's wait for the last one for that one to be MSTR. Does that sound good? Land Bridge, please. What's the ticker on that? LB. Super low volume right off the bat. I wouldn't trade it. I don't like trading anything with super low volume. What's your intention here? To go long or to go short? Looks like it has a common resistance range just based off previous technicals. That's all I can go off of. I don't know this company. Oversold levels 50, overbought levels 85. So, I mean, it literally makes more sense to short this than it does to go long on it based off of risk to reward. But obviously price action doesn't have to support that yet, right? It looks like it's holding above EMA. If it does see that break of structure, then it might have that retracement back down to $50 per share. But again, simply by its volume being so low, I wouldn't care to short it. What's going on? Ricky Shorts 24. What the heck? I don't know if that's your own name or... All right, let's break down JD. I actually think this is our fifth stock, but we'll break a few more. So what's your intention with this? Do you mind if I ask? To go long, to go short? Oh, it's a long-term investment. Okay. Why? Do you mind if I ask? What about this? Because just looking at the technicals, none of this looks favorable. It looks like a stock that since 2021, it's been forming lower highs and lower lows. And if it's a long-term investment, I would assume that, well, then your intentions are not just to buy low and sell high. That's more of a swing trade, right? I don't see anything about this to be favorable long-term. I could see why someone might want to trade this. I don't see the investment side of it. Let me pull it up here as well. Do you mind if I look into it a little bit more? Here we go. Very low PE ratio. So it looks like, again, Wall Street just does not like this company. It produces $183 billion in revenue. Wow. And $4.9 billion in net income. So it looks like it's an established business. Oh, and it's revenue. Are its margins slimming down or trading at significantly of a discount P ratio? Maintain strong financial health, more cash than debt. Its balance sheet. Yeah, I think I actually have heard of it. Yeah, JD.com. Buying back shares, signaling confidence. Okay. Hey, you might actually have something here. Maybe you are buying during a complete, it's a well-run business that maybe just Wall Street doesn't like right now. Okay. I'm actually going to add this to my watch list. I want to learn more about it, and I'm not going to be able to do that analysis in this one. So I appreciate you planting that seed with me and looking at what we just saw right now. Its revenue, it's increasing. Its margins are fine. It's repurchasing its own shares, and it's trading at a significant discount for its P ratio. P ratio is not everything, obviously. It could continue to downturn. My biggest thing that I don't like about it is that it's so consistently bearish. And with that, it's asking yourself a very simple question. If you are trying to make money right now, this is not going to be the stock for you. But if you can stomach the downturn, right, and you have no intentions of making any money right now, hey, could this be a stock that could see a turnaround, right? Find support at $25 and maybe begins its uptick. $50 would be insane. And looking at previous highs, it's just been on such a consistent sell-off since 2021, which is why I just find it hard to believe that there could be hope for this. And if we do enter a recession, will a e-commerce giant like this see more of a downturn, than a potential uptick? Also another question to ask myself, because you also have to kind of get the macro outlook of the overall economy. If it's doing and performing like this during a bull market, how is it going to perform during a bear market? Do you get what I mean? Again, just kind of like thinking out loud with you guys. All right, let's do it. The last one, MSTR, the one and only. So I've made a video about this. I actually made it yesterday. Who watched that video? I actually got really good feedback on that video. I really enjoyed it because there was like fake news that was being shared about MicroStrategy, about supposedly Michael Saylor selling. Trust me, I don't like this company. I don't like the stock. I don't like the business. I don't like the industry that it's in. But I wanted to be straight up with you guys. I didn't want to use fake news to kick it while it's down. I wanted to talk about the technicals. I wanted to also clear up that fake news, but then also, highlight why there is so much uncertainty and so much selling pressure on such a BS company like MicroStrategy. So for those that do not know, although the market's been mainly on an uptick, you can see that MicroStrategy has been selling off. Yeah. What is that? Since July. And since July, we've seen a strong sell-off of, I believe that's like a 50% retracement. Let me double check here. There it goes, 55% retracement in just the past 3 months. So it's become oversold enough that I don't think it's a very safe short. I like joking around about it. You'll see me talk about it on Instagram, making fun of it and stuff like that. But the big thing that I'm paying attention to right now is the sentiment of the overall market. We've seen a recent decline in crypto, and because of that, that is fueling the uncertainty and the selling pressure on MSTR. If, for whatever reason, a support is found with Bitcoin and markets begin to recover and they get a second wave of an uptick, I like to be straight up with you guys. You would not or cannot be surprised that then MicroStrategy can begin to recover. So just like I said at overbought levels, how it makes sense to short something, at oversold levels, I think the risk comes at a much greater cost. Again, just for me. But there are people that have a lot of conviction that MicroStrategy will continue to sell off, that Bitcoin will continue to sell off. I don't pay enough attention to crypto to know or to care enough about it, right? I would say that there is not a significant enough trigger to cause overall markets to collapse. So I think that for now, MicroStrategy, can kind of sustain itself here. If we do get that trigger and overall markets begin to decline, I do believe that MicroStrategy, just like it saw back in 2021 during that bear market, right, from 2021 all the way to 2023, it sold off for a year and lost about 90% of its value. So I think something very similar can present itself with MicroStrategy, but that's when the trigger actually presented itself. So again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So you guys know that I'm all for shorting, but I want to short when it makes sense. I want to short when my potential to make money is greater than my potential to lose. And I just don't know if I have that set up with MicroStrategy right now. I'm not saying that it makes sense to buy the dip because markets have not recovered for crypto. All I'm saying is that I think it's oversold enough that it doesn't make much sense to continue to short. So again, we'll talk about this a little bit more in our live trading session tomorrow. For those that want to tune on in, I'd love to invite you. I trade live every single morning right at market open, and it's the second link in the description down below. If you want a discount, again, I'd love to have you there. Second link in the description. For those that do not know what's included, it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We have people that signed up back in 2018 that still have access to it today and got access to all of the updates. And all they did was they signed up once. So you get access to the A to Z video lesson library that's designed for complete beginners. They get access to the daily live trading session, which is people's main reason that they end up joining LPP. And then you also get access to the LPP group chat for the 3.0. So again, it's all included. I only offer one service. It's this. It's one-time payment for lifetime access. And whenever you're ready, it's the second link in the description down below. If it's not something that you feel like would be a good fit for you, I respect that. Again, hopefully you can consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and I can do my part in keeping you up to date. So again, Nvidia reporting earnings this Wednesday after the market closes. Please make sure that you are prepared. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Happy Sunday.